Welcome to Brother Owl's Garden. I'm Brian, and I honor your presence here today. And I have a wonderful, luminous presence here today to share with you. And her name is Gita Ben David, and she is visiting with us today from Denmark. And just a couple of notes about Gita. She started off her life as a musician in the Academy of Music in Denmark. Later in life, she went to India to study music further, and she studied under the wonderful Mangala Tiwari. You can YouTube and search for her name. She's a wonderful singer that India gave us. What a gift. Very pure voice. And today, Gita Ben David is not only a musician, she's also a composer, an author, a healer, and she's going to share with us today about a range of topics that she's involved in right now, including sound healing, frequency healing, how the pineal gland relates to healing in the body, and all sorts of wonderful things. Enough intro. I honor you, Gita, and I welcome you. Thank you for blessing us today with your presence.
I honor you too, Brian. Thank you.
Gita, I know that what you're working on now, and you have been working on for some time, is something that you call the note from heaven. Could we begin there and have you tell us a little bit about what that is, and how did this come into your life?
I'll try to do it short. I worked with the note from heaven for about 34 years. I was in the academy and I went to India in order to actually just get a break from the academy. And I chose to sing because that would be the easiest, because I was actually playing the saxophone in the conservatorium. And then I went to this Mangala Tiwari that was just one musician told, you can go to her in Varanasi. And I thank Mangala from my heart because she changed my life.
Yeah.
And I actually just wanted, I can try to study Indian singing, and actually it didn't appeal so much to me, and all this. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So, but when when I heard her voice, I felt this shivering in my neck, and what she gave me was like, I just want more. I want to listen to her. I didn't want to sing. I just want to hear her voice because the quality of her sound. I mean, I've always had this with me that I can hear the quality of a sound somehow. And now I know maybe it's the energy of the sound that I have some kind of talent to feel. I thought everybody has it. I also think we all have it, but maybe mine was a little bit more developed because I just could feel her energy somehow, and it was pure, and the thing was that she was herself. She dared to express who she was. And I say was because I'm sorry to say, dead now from cancer, but and I didn't want to sing with her because I felt I was like, and I was a shadow like beside her. So when she told me, no, you take the tampura and you sing, and I was like, like everybody else can have, you feel naked when you have to sing. I want to grab the soprano saxophone and play for her, but she said, no, sing, and you go home and you sing your ground note for 1 hour every day minimum. And then I start to tell her that I was used to play very fast and many notes in the academy.
Saxophone.
Yes, a third, and going da 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 da. And she told me she didn't actually care about that. So I went home and I should sing for 1 hour on and I thought, oh my God, I start that and and I was bored with it. But then all of a sudden, after about 10-15 minutes, and I believe it was the left brain hemisphere that it stopped somehow worrying about singing it after sitting for 15 minutes. Then all of a sudden it said, whoom, and a sound came into me that it was like many notes at one time. And at that time I was 25, and it was just before David Hikes and all these people started talking about overtones and, you know, so I didn't know about overtone singing at all. But then I got 3 or 4 notes at once, and I thought somebody in the street was singing. I couldn't imagine me singing out loud. And I didn't feel it's me singing. So this is, I found out that there were no children in the street, so nobody was copying me. So that was the experience of being nothing and everything at once. And that experience, I've worked with that since, because it's a kind of, you can surrender through the sound.
Yep. You know what, Gita, you made me think of something when you said you were nothing and thus you were everything. That fits something that I like to call getting out of your own way.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what you're speaking of, it to release, you know, when you speak of left brain, what I think of is what I call the meddling intellect.
Yes.
Oh, am I going to be good enough? What if I mess up? I'm not as good as Mangala. And, you know, what if people hear me and laugh, or
yes.
Who do I think I am doing this? You know, how I need to get better fast, and then I can sing. And, you know, all this. And when you can truly release that and let yourself go, you've gotten out of your own way. And when you've gotten out of your own way, what happens then, Gita?
Yeah, so what happened was that I could continue singing that one note for hours. I couldn't stop. I could do it 3 hours. I mean, my legs would hurt, but I could just continue. And I lost my interest in playing the saxophone and being something special and performing. You understand? I just wanted to be with that note, because I got my whole body started tingling from energy.
I have to ask, you know, what about your neighbors? How did your neighbors feel about this one note for hours and hours and hours?
But this was in India. They don't care.
Yeah.
You know, they're noisy too. So it was not a problem in India, but in Europe, maybe. I think actually they get relaxed from it. And another thing was happening is that my voice, I start to get my own power. And also I found out another thing that I can tell people, that I took a tape of, I taped always Mangala to hear, and I thought, what is it that I like in her quality of the voice? Because mine was still a little bit, you know, I'm very airy, and also have a problem to put the limits somehow. It can be good in some way when you surrender, but when you're with people, it's not so good if you don't know your limits. So my voice was also like, you know, everything is like that. But Mangala was like that, very precise. So I listened to her voice, and then it came to me that she has some kind of core inside the sound. There's something special about it, and and then I found that, and that's been really part of it also, that here in the third eye, if you sing a NG song, like a sheep, for example, but you don't even have to say like a sheep, but just to think about it. This NG, while you're saying the R, for example, I could say, and then I could say, you see, now it's getting more sharp, but then you can sit and play with it. How sharp do you want? And then you actually can make yourself more or less balanced in your voice, and you can find, who am I? What do I like? You are what you like. The voice you like the most in you is what is you. So I found how I like myself, and then I started singing like this, and I actually started liking my voice. And the funny thing is that your mood will also change your voice, and you will see some days you don't sing well, some days you sing better, and if you're sad and have a trauma maybe, or into a crisis, you can't get the bottom of yourself, because
your throat chakra can be kind of constricted. I've experienced that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Sorry, the throat and the solar plexus are directly connected together. So also, if you have a closed throat or neck, it can also be very good. For example, now I have this international education in vocal sound therapy. They always learn in one of the first days that we can sing undertones on the solar plexus to loosen up the emotions sitting there, cutting it can restrict the contact to the stomach, because we need grounding when we sing. And that's why the most important thing is when you sing the note from heaven, what I call it, this surrendering, is a note from heaven, because you become one with something higher, and it's like drinking, eating food when you do it, like a small bird getting the food from its mother. Oh, like this. And it's effortlessly.
So you're saying, Gita, that the note from heaven is something that's not something you're generating, it's something that you're conveying, that comes to you from the divine and comes through you. In other words, as if you are the instrument of the divine tone.
Yes, because when you sing the note from heaven, it's actually like a prayer. I didn't pray, but it's you surrender and you try to be true to the one you truly are. And who are you? You are actually one with the universe when you come into the core of it. And when you on R, this is the most open vowel. It's the entrance for the life, screaming, and the exit when we leave, surrendering. And I tell you, we are all one. I mean, you can go and experience it. And why I like also to have my education and or to sing with people is every time I help somebody to get that experience, it's like a blessing. You get healed from that person. A person that didn't think she could sing, for example, or he could sing, and then they get this voice down through them, and they're like, what? And they can't stop singing, and we all get healing from them.
Well, I tell you, Gita, I have a brother who is a phenomenally gifted vocalist. And then I have my voice. I speak okay, but I notice when I do chanting or something like that, as you mentioned before, you have good days and you have bad days, and also different times of the day. I love the early morning when I first wake up. I love that quality of my voice if I'm going to chant, probably after coffee though. But I've noticed that some days I've really got it. The clarity is there. I don't have any effects of congestion or allergies or other anomalies. But then the very next day, I may try to do a chanting session or some spoken prayer, and my voice will get weak and gravelly and just wavering, and it's just awful. And to be honest with you, it frustrates me a lot because, especially, for example, in the Christian traditions with Orthodox and Roman Catholic chanting, you've heard the recordings of how beautiful they can be. And I want to be in that beauty where they are at that level. And some days it's, don't even try it.
No,
I don't feel that I have control over my voice too much.
It's because you need to have contact to your Sahara or your root chakra. Because we have an electric system in the body, and we need grounding in order to be able to surrender to what I call the note from heaven, or to be in the oneness. Because another thing, now I also like science, so I've been trying to see what is happening when we are surrendering like this, opening our arms and just surrendering. And I believe that, first of all, higher spirits or higher energies can work through us. I ask for love and light. Whatever you believe in can work, what you call it, but the fact is that healing powers are coming through you. Mm-hmm. But also, if you see it scientifically, actually, we are an electromagnetic field. Mm-hmm. The whole body. That's why we are alive.
Yeah.
And everything is sound. Everything is vibration. Yeah. So in the moment you reach out your hands, the hands are polar. They will attract things. And the feet would also, but it's a little bit hard to put the feet up. But then I put the hands up, and you will be able to feel energy when you're sitting a little bit like this. You will start feel the trembling in your hands, and actually you're pulling down energy to give to the earth when you do this. And that's the photons. If we talk about Nikola Tesla, he started about he talked about harvesting the photons of the universe, and the photons there, it's full of photons. There's abundance of it, and the photons are only activated when they come into an electromagnetic field. Otherwise, they're invisible. So we're actually pulling down energy and giving it to the earth. You see, the more healing we will do, we will pull down energy and give it to the earth. We will take the light in and transform it to something good. So I
Gita,
find it very beautiful. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you think that that might be, you mentioned about the energy can be drawn in through the hands and the feet. Do you think that that has anything to do with why little babies lying in their crib have their hands and their feet up like that? Do you think it's possible that that's a natural pose for us, maybe, to be drawing energy from all those receptors? Just a thought that I had when you were telling me that.
Yes. And oh, sorry.
Well, and in regards to the grounding, I did a previous episode called, you can call it anchoring or grounding or tethering. Before I do any kind of a spiritual practice, prayer, meditation, Reiki, chant, whatever, I visualize and do a very quick ritual of grounding myself. And I'll say something to the effect of, I ground the energetic core of my being to the energetic core of the earth. Thusly, I am anchored. Thusly, I'm grounded. Something like that. And I visualize my core being energetically plugged in. Not bound or restricted or chained or anything. Connected. The grounding is a connection. Is that the kind of grounding that you're referring to, Gita?
I am referring to it very practically, because you have to breathe like this, that the stomach will, the lungs will be filled so much that the stomach will, the belly will be bigger. And then when you sing, you have to press it in actively. Without that, you will not have your power. And there is actually an organ down there called the mesentery organ. It's a new organ they found, the scientists. And the mesentery organ is around the hara, and it's holding all our intestines on place. Without it, we would like this. And they found that this organ can hold energy. It's like a battery. So when we press here, we are getting the energy and we're using it. So that's great. But the same thing, of course, to ground yourself, but it's happening when you breathe from the bottom of yourself. Then you'll have a grounding, and we have an electric system, because when you sing, the voice will cut off if you don't have the grounding. It's a natural fuse, and that's why I never had anybody that got crazy or anything. Even there's really high energies coming down when you sing, because the voice will not be able to sing if you don't have the grounding. What makes people crazy in spirituality is that they get too high energies down and they're not grounded. It's like an electric system, totally.
So that makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad you're saying that, because of course it applies. Get grounded first. That's what I said in the video I did on that. Before you begin any process that's spiritual, get grounded first. But it sounds to be remarkably important in regards to the note from heaven. And are you speaking, when you talk about the belly coming in, you're speaking of the diaphragm, correct?
Yes.
Diaphragm.
In Danish, we call the diaphragm stomach. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. And can you spell the name of that organ that you mentioned? Because that's news to me. I didn't know that.
Mesentary. I think that's what it's called.
Mesentery?
Yes, organ.
So that might be one of the things that's taking up so much space down there with me. Now I can say, hey, I have even one more thing that I have to keep down there. That's why I've got this belly. Can I get away with that or not so much?
But it's very, very good to have a big belly. The bigger, the better. Because it's giving sound. You just have to use it and set it free. Never like put a belt on when you sing. You should use it. And it's very good. Another thing is that the more you will sing in this way, without performing, but just surrendering, then you will know how to step into oneness. And you will also know how to get out again. And that's really an important part of spiritual work, that you will know how to enter the oneness and also to come back to the duality or the polarity, what you would call it, the normal life. Because if you don't know how to come back, you will be scared to get in there. So I always work a lot about that, and the symbol of Gita, Lars, my husband, and me's institute is Gita. We have the symbol, and I actually have it here. I can just show it to you. Maybe
you're referring also to a website you have called gilalai.com.
Sorry?
You're mentioning I just wanted to add, you have a website which is called gilalai.com. I'll put all references on in the description.
But anyway, it's like an opening in the middle of this symbol, and when you can put off the veil, you can say there can be a veil when you're in duality. There's a veil, and then this symbol will become dual. And then when you take off the veil, it's becoming a oneness symbol. And that thing is very important for me, because to think like on the heart, I put this veil, 2 M's opposite here, open, and I'm surrendering. And that's why you can, when you're trained in stepping into the oneness by the singing, you can enter it whenever you want, and nobody will take it from you again. Never. You have it. And then back, duality.
Could you show us, Gita, could you show us that symbol again and hold it for us to get a really good long look at it?
It's much light.
Oh.
I'll just try. Can you see this?
Yeah, we can see that. Okay. I didn't mean to interrupt you showing it before when I mentioned that about the website. Yeah, we can see that.
I can't see it for the light. I'm sorry.
No, we can see it. There's a shadow on it, but we can still see it.
Yeah, but that was the oneness symbol. I have written about it in my books also. So, and there's also some films about it, I think, in our page. You will mention that later. Anyway, what has happened is that it's been a long journey with this, the note from heaven, and it developed. Also, you can start to have images coming, like dream-like images. That happened to me, like when I was a kid, and it came back. I could lay down and relax, and images start coming. So I also took an education like a regressive therapist, because therapist in regression, because to handle, how would I handle if people start to get images?
Yeah.
So I developed this called regressive self singing, where you can sing yourself free of traumas. And about 1/3 of my students can see images too. So when I hear the sounds of people, images come, and we can help people to transform the traumas. It's a long story, but this can also happen by stepping in to the note from heaven. They will go into the tensions they have around the traumas. We will ask, where is the somatic experience of it? We enter it with your voice, sing whatever notes coming out, and then when some kind of cry come, or anger, or whatever sitting there, we just touch that, and then we uplift it to the note from heaven, so that this sound will be transformed. All the energy stuck in that trauma will be transformed to the note from heaven, and then people get free. So that's also something.
It's like a pent up pain body, you could call it.
Yes. Yes.
An amalgamation of that trauma. Yeah, and that's within our spiritual DNA as well as our physical DNA, yes. As you know. Gita, you made me think of something. Everything you're saying is sparking things that I could relate to. Yeah. A couple of years ago, right after I had a very, very terrible fever. Now, I say that because I know that the fever was a catalyst for what happened, but I don't want anyone to think that it made me delusional or something like that. As I recovered, you know, when you have a really terrible fever, I had dengue. You can feel when the fever breaks. You can feel that day, whether it's the 4th day, the 8th day, whatever it is. You can feel when the fever breaks, and you've got maybe 2 to 3 days before you're going to be up and about normal again. Yeah. At that point, about the last 2 days of my recovery, after the fever had broken, but I was still tired, I began to see, I don't know how to say this, I've actually never shared this before, but you've brought it out of me. I began to see what I will call, because I don't know what else to call it, glimpses of another dimension that was right next to ours. That's the best I can tell you. A veil lifted, and I could see another. You know, if you wear eyeglasses, sometimes you look inside your lenses, you can see a reflection of something inside your lens, and it's like a hologram.
Yes.
I don't know if that's a good example, but everything was red and black. Only red and black. And this dimension that I saw, I'll be honest with you, was not very beautiful. The energy that I was feeling from it was not very beautiful, but I felt not threatened by it. I felt that I was being shown it, but that I couldn't be hurt by it. But everything was red and black. And for about 3 days, it would just flicker, flicker, flicker in my, I'll call it third eye. In my mind's eye, I could see this dimension, and I would see scenes, just one scene. It would be able, as if there were a pane of glass, and I could just peek through it. Although I didn't do it at will. So I guess it would be better to say it came to my eyes rather than I peeked. But I'm wondering if, although you talked about green light, I'm wondering if that was a somewhat similar experience where, as if you could see a holographic peek into another dimension or frequency. Was it like that?
It was not especially green light. It's just you see images like a dream, not green, dream.
Oh, I thought you said green. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're saying dream light, dream images, and you start to see stories unfold, like slowly, like you would dream almost, but you do it in while you are awake. And now come back to this. I don't know if you can see, but this is the pineal gland is in the, if you can see, like in the central of our nerve system, there is this. I see it as a bird, and we draw it a little bit like a bird. This and there here. So here's in the neck of that bird's head, in the center of the brain, we have the pineal gland. It's luminescent. And this also the neurologists know, because they are navigating after it when they do brain surgery, because it's light. There's light in it often. And in this bird head, then there's a hypothalamus, and there's pituitary here. And this is the center of our nerve system, of our endocrine system. And this, why I talk about the pineal or pineal gland, or it's also a cone. Actually, it's the only cone in the body, so it's a spiral. And this is because it also creates DMT. And that means if you activate it, you will start to have the images going. That could be the reason. I don't know.
Okay. Makes sense. I know it was related to the brain, but
yeah, but same thing, that pineal gland is also creating melatonin and making all our circadian rhythm work, deciding when we are living, when we are dying, when are we going to be mature for this or for that. And it's transforming the light into the body and make it chemical. It's transforming light to be hormonal or endocrine, and it's activating the endocrine system, which is the communication system. 80% of the communication in the body is made from this. So I believe, even from singing, that you also activate the pineal gland, and you can actually start all kind of process in the body. You know, and the science have measured that from just even singing in a choir, your endocrine level will be heightened.
Yeah, singing is known to be a very healthy and life-extending activity.
And taking the pain also.
Yeah, and dancing too. You can't be in a bad mood and be dancing.
No, it's true.
Gita, could you show us the book? The light was very bright where you showed it. Maybe you could show it off to the side. Yeah, let's get a good view. And
is that better?
Yeah, the light was kind of bleaching it out before, but now we can see it much better. Heal the Pineal, detox with Hong Song.
Yes, this is because I found that it also led me to start to do healing, because you can have the sound, you can sing yourself free of your own traumas, but you can also, when you're more or less pure of this, or at least you step into the oneness, you can ask for love and light and pass on this energy that you get down. And especially when I started doing this, I found that you can find the resonance in the body. Shall I try to find the resonance in your body? Shall I try to show?
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
I'll do it. Okay, I'll just find I do around your solar plexus maybe, because we know now from the COVID-19 crisis that we can do it over line. There's no problem. I just ask
online healing is a big thing.
and I will show you. Sorry, the sound maybe is not so good.
Now tell us what you have done.
I just was imagining me singing to your solar plexus in this area. I moved a little bit up and down to find where does it need it. I'm listening to your solar plexus and trying to find which sound does it want. And I'm sliding with my voice until it's from being like a line, it's saying whoop. Yep. With the overtones. So right. I listen for the overtones to see where does the body want it. And then when the body feels heard, it's get happy. It get really happy. And then it starts to, many times the energy starts to work in that area. And then I could have continued to the next place and try to open for the energy in your body.
So Gita, let me make, because I want to be sure that I perfectly understand. Yes. You are kind of honing in on yes. what frequency is the home frequency of that chakra.
Yes, it's not even chakras. I just can go any place in the body. I'm scanning.
Yeah, it's not necessarily according to the energy centers of the chakra, but in this area of the body, you're finding which area, which tone resonates in that.
You see, yes, that was a real tone, but then it developed when I started doing this, and I found that I can feel the resonance in the body just by listening. I just have to listen to you and then express what sound your body likes. I'm looking for the note from heaven all the time. If the note from heaven will appear or some overtones will come, I'm not creating them. Then I will stay there. Then the voice started doing very strange things. It started to say, ooh, and I thought, oh, I'm not a good singer, and all this low self-estimation. And then the receiver said, actually, this feels really nice. Could you continue doing this? Because when they lay down, they can feel the vibration in the body. They stop listening for the quality of the note. So I started doing this, and then great healings happened. So I have found that the undertones actually is kind of undertones, but they came naturally down when I start to listen for what a person needs. Then all of a sudden, the most awful sounds like are coming, and people like it.
So it's not necessarily how beautiful can I sound. It's what sound is coming when I am. It's almost like you're putting a stethoscope.
Yes,
of sensitivity, exactly. and then whatever comes is the medicine.
Yes, and I've developed it further. I get it from up, I'm sure, because they want me probably when the time is ready. So I got now, the last 4 years, I've also worked with the hung. That was when I was writing this book, the Heal the Pineal, because then I had to be very specific to activate this pineal in myself. I wanted to try if I could decalcify it, because most of us have a calcified pineal gland. And then I found that the only sound I could make, I tried just to play around with it. And the only sound that I got a reaction was the hung, hung. hung, and then it was not the hung sound, but the hung, the purring part of it.
Yeah, okay.
And that everybody can try. If you say hung through the nose, the sound should be through the nose, because you can see
Something with that vibration, maybe. Something.
Yes, it is with vibration, but the thing is, when an open undertone, and you hold your ears, it's not very loud inside your head. But if you say the hung, and close your ears, it's very loud inside your head. So that means I found a tool that you can actually heal yourself with. And this is, I'm really passionate about, because the hung sound is like a pencil. It's very, very precise. You can use all the vowels on it. Hung. Hung will go more to the brainstem. Hing will be more cutting through. You can use all the vowels, but I use the hung or hung because it's going straight up into the central nerve system. And I found that I can scan anything with this, very precise. I can go into the brain. There was somebody that lost their sense of taste and smell after the COVID. And then I went then into suprachiasmatic nucleus. It's sitting inside the nose like a bulb sitting there, and it's connected to the nerve system, central nervous system. And I know it has something to do with the smell. So I went in there. I start to interest me for the anatomy, because I can now scan it if I want. So I went into there just with my intention. And then that person got his smell back. So I thought, great. It's so much easier than going in the hospital. You can go and activate anything.
Well, you know, Gita, I don't know if there's a connection here or not, but I'd just like to offer. You talk about the hung sound, especially the purring of the hung sound. In the Padmasambhava mantra.
I say the hung, yeah.
The hung is twice. Om, if you say it in the Tibetan dialect, Om Ah Hong Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hong. It's in the beginning, Om Ah Hong Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hong, and finish again. I'm just wondering if that's one of those sacred tones in and of itself.
It is. Because I was testing a lot of sounds to see how I could get in contact with the pineal or pineal, what you call it. And I also tested actually the Buddhistic sounds, and the Ram and Dur and the Om, and nothing. And then I said Hong, nothing. And then my voice just started saying Hong. And then it was that one. And you know what I found out too? That the cat's purring, they have measured it. It can heal broken bones, maybe two to three times faster than a normal healing would happen.
Who knew? I didn't know. That's great.
They know because the cat is healing so fast. That's why they tell it has 7 lives. And they see that the bone is no different in a cat bone. Hi, Muchi Muchi.
This is no difference. Tricky, and she wanted to say hello, and she's happy to hear you talking about her therapy.
So the cat's purring can heal the fracture of a bone by itself much faster than a dog. It's healing much faster than a dog, and the only difference on a cat and a dog is that it's purring in the bone structure.
Right.
So also I've seen that just saying on a fracture, if somebody had broken their arm, especially if it's a fresh fracture, after 2 weeks when they go to the check, usually they get an x-ray, and then after 2 weeks they have some kind of cast or something on it, and they go to get checked, the fractures are gone.
Amazing, amazing. Gita, I know that we could talk forever, and
yes,
I'd like to, but in the interest of moving along in the interview, in our wonderful conversation, could you tell us a little bit more about your book that you've shown us? Could you tell us, and also the pineal gland with the Hong?
Yes. This is the pineal gland with the Hong Song, is my newest book, and it's in English. I've written a lot of books, but they're in Danish, most of them. But this one and The Note from Heaven, this is sold out, actually. There are 3 books that is going to be released or published in O-Books. They're working on it now. My trilogy about sound.
But
and
Gita, you do have one copy around the house that you can send to me that you will autograph. Is that true? Will you autograph a copy that I can buy from you? Maybe
yes, the problem is that this one is the only book I have left. They're all sold.
Literally
but
gone.
when I get the trilogy, I will send you as the first one. And there are 2 books in that, and there's 3 in the other one. But this one, Heal the Pineal, I can send to you.
Right. Well,
because there I have extra. And this is actually Heal the Pineal with the detox with the Hong Song is. Shall I just mention this? Can I do that?
Yeah.
And I got all 3. So if you would purify your pineal gland with the Hong Song, like just imagine the bird and come to the neck of the bird's head, and there's the pineal gland. Then you will kickstart a detox of your body, because our pineal glands are already in children. They are calcified today because of all the toxins in the environment. So if we want to just get around all kind of things, we should purify the pineal gland. According to Stephanie Seneff, scientist from Boston, she said that it's also in charge of creating sulfates in the daytime. It's doing it from the light. Therefore, don't wear sunglasses. Get some light. Of course, not be stupid to look into the sun in the highest sun, but the light will help you to create sulfates. And these sulfates are distributed by the melatonin in the night to the nerve system to purify our cells, not even outside, but even inside. And that's the only substance that has directly entrance to our nerve, our cells, because that can restructure the cell if there are toxins inside. So therefore, it's a really important point to purify your pineal gland. But don't think more than 3 minutes at a time, because you can get. I tell you, it's really strong. It can be strong for some people. So 3 minutes, move to something else, come back. Just that. Thank you.
You're talking about singing the Hung.
Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, don't overdo it. Keep it to a maximum 3 minutes.
You can move somewhere else in the body and come back to let the energy flow, because the energy of singing is energy, and it could be too, in a way, hot, if you do it in one spot all the time.
A bit intense, sure. It's good you mentioned the benefits, especially, in this crazy world that we live in now, where, everybody lock yourselves in, stay inside, don't interact with anyone, don't go outside. We're losing exposure to sunlight, fresh air.
Yes.
All of the cleansing things that we take for granted by just being out in nature and interacting with other people. And you have to stay far away from everyone. In other words, do not touch your energy fields. Well, that's depriving over a period of time for people. So, and I wanted to add also on a physical level that turmeric is also good for helping to decalcify the pineal gland in the physical way. But I'm very new to what you're teaching about the hung and the purring vibration as a means of doing that, and I'll definitely give it a shot.
I can tell you, why I know about it is that I did it to myself, and you can also, if you're depressed, I was in the menopause, and I really got much stronger reaction than I thought, and I tried to balance all my endocrine system with this Hong Song. So I went from the pineal and to the hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid, thymus, all the glands in the body. And in 15 minutes, I was totally balanced and happy. So it can really work. But in the evening, and that's also what I explained in the book, I started to get headache, and I'm not a headache type. I'm not getting headaches normally. It was really bad headache, and I went to bed, and then I woke up in the night, and I had a big boil here on my neck, and I thought, cancer, galloping cancer. No, then I came to my mind, oh, it's the lymph nodes, and it must be released toxins that are
Yeah,
stuck
yeah.
there, because I did it, maybe too much, and then I put some onion on it, and then with raw onion, it's taking out toxins, by the way. So I laid with a raw onion on it and a towel all night, and 24 hours, then it was gone, and no headache.
It's an amazing testimonial, and I didn't know that the onion absorbs toxins either. That's good to know as well. There's so much. You're just an endless spring of wisdom and knowledge. And again, to give Nikola Tesla some credit, again, we mentioned him before, but his quote. There's two quotes that you reminded me of in our conversation today. The first one was Tesla, where he said, "If you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration, and energy."
Very good.
That's it. And I adore him. I think he was one of the greatest, most luminous souls we ever had.
He's also mentioned in this book.
Oh, and rightly so. Good. And the other one is from Khalil Gibran, where I can't speak the quote verbatim, but he says, I am a flute through which the breath of God blows. And
yes,
this is what you are being when you do the note from heaven. This is what you're doing. I will ask you to tell us where people can learn more about you and maybe even contact you, and also where would you suggest we purchase the book? I know it's out of stock at the moment, but you mentioned a trilogy is coming. Could you give us some points on that, and then we'll wrap it up with my gratitude.
I don't know when it's coming, the book, okay, but I hope that it will come out soon. I'm waiting for them to tell me. At least in the beginning of 2022, the latest, I would suggest. Okay. And then you can contact me in Gilalai, www.gilalai. There you can at least see the courses and online courses. Okay. We have also an online page linked to that. Mm-hmm. And I love the online right now. Even you can't work so well with the resonance like a choir and things like this. This can only happen in real courses, but magic is happening in these courses, and also because we are meeting from all the world and healing each other and spreading this. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and another page is thenotefromheaven.com.
Thenotefromheaven.com, gilalai.com. And what about, I know there's another one.
Yes, the film page where Lars and me, we share our films. We also interview people like you do if we find somebody interesting and that they can't get out. We also do that. That's cosmoporta.com with the C. Cosmoporta.
And you have a YouTube channel that we could let people know about?
Yeah, I think it's called Gilalai, isn't it? I don't even know.
Okay. What I do, Gita, and to all who are viewing, I will simply put the links in the description and keep it easy so that you don't have to try to write down or remember. I'll just put the links there. So I think that this is good enough for our first conversation, and I would love if there could be more, but I know you're a very busy and in-demand person. But I want to thank you again, Gita. You've honored me and you've blessed all, and hopefully that this conversation and all this wisdom that you've shared with us will reach many, many, many souls who are hungry for this kind of thing, and they are out there.
I tell you, it works like this.
Yeah.
And I honor you too. Thank you very much, Brian, for your sweet appearance, and you're very kind and lovely. Thank you very much.
Oh, shucks. Very much, Gita. And I just want to thank you again a million times for allowing us into your world and into your experiences and into your wisdom and sharing so freely with us today. And I do hope to see you again soon here, and I'm sure that our viewers would feel the same. And so I thank you and I honor you. And I want to remind all of our viewers, I hope that you have enjoyed this shared conversation with Gita Ben David in Denmark. We've had speakers from Thailand and United Kingdom and Denmark now. So we're getting some reach. And bless everyone, and thank you all. And always remember to abide in thankfulness for your highest good in the most benevolent outcome of the divine will.